Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into the channel. On this particular episode, we're going to talk about Casio, and one Casio that I think everyone should be considering buying at this moment if you don't own it already. Many of you will already own this watch, and if you do, you may want to do what I've done and pick up a second. And if you're really into Casios, that is. I really am. I've got quite a few. That doesn't mean to say that I only like Casios or anything like that. I've just got a few, but it's one of the brands that I really enjoy. So these particular watches that I'm going to show you today are all in that £10 to £20 price range in terms of RRP. But so firstly, we're going to talk about this watch. Now, this is the watch that I think that everyone should consider buying right now. I am pretty certain that this is a watch that's going to be phased out in maybe the next 12 months, maybe the next 24 months, something along those lines. The reason being is because of the electroluminescence in the backlight. That's something that Casio is slowly but surely phasing out of all of its current model range, and obviously the models that have that feature from many years ago, they're slowly but surely getting discontinued. So this is one of the last bastions at this price range, between the £10 and £20 price range, that has this feature. So I do think if you guys like Casio, even if you don't, but you want a Casio and you're wondering which one to pick up, obviously everyone would recommend the F91, and I would too. I own 2 or 3 of them. But if it's just the one, and it's not all about which model is most well known or which has the most history, things like that, I think this is the one, really. So I picked this one up for around £15. You can still get it around that price range between 15 and 20. I don't believe it's discontinued as of now, but I really do think any moment now this watch is no longer going to be available. When that happens, obviously you will still find it on eBay. You'll find it from because it's a mass-produced model, so you're going to find it all over the place. But at some point, it's going to slowly become just used models, and then after that, it's going to become used and not very good condition, and so on and so forth. And then when you get the ones that are in really pristine condition, you're going to find that they're quite pricey, especially compared to the original retail price. That's kind of what I've noticed with Casios, in particular ones that are popular or ones that have been discontinued and that were popular in some way, or have a feature which is no longer available and things like that, or something that's a feature that is inherently popular in itself. So this is the watch. This is the Casio F105-W, and it is similar. I would say it's like the little brother of the W86. Now that's another watch that I really love, and I would recommend it too, but they're no longer available retail because they're discontinued. So if you can still pick them up, as I said, that after they stop making these watches, because they are mass produced, they're still going to be available, but slowly but surely the prices are creeping up, and now you're looking to pay what, 30, 35, maybe £40 for a good model, and that's just the availability of the watches is just going to decrease over time. But if you wanted to pick one of those up, I certainly would recommend it. We're going to take a look at one shortly, but because the main point of this video is this watch, we're going to have a little in-depth look at this watch first. So I picked this one up. I already own one of these watches, but that particular one I use, and it is not in very good condition at all. This one I picked up from Amazon. I managed to get a good deal. And one thing I should point out is when you guys buy Casios, even the most cheapest Casios or the cheapest models, there are fakes out there, so you've got to be careful. What I tend to look for is this particular barcode, the one that's got the reference on it. On the tags, you'll find a lot of the tags have got looks like a generic barcode or nothing at all on the back, those are most likely fake watches, really, as far as I'm aware. But this is the watch, and before we do anything else, let's have a look at the feature that I absolutely love about the watch. You can't really see it very well in the light, but that is the electroluminescence. Other than that, this watch has got really basic features in terms of what it does in terms of its functionality. You've got the start-stop stopwatch. You've got the date visible on the dial, along with the time, and you've got an alarm function. So bog standard in terms of the module itself. The only differentiating feature of this particular module is obviously the electroluminescence. Part of the reason some of you may think that Casio are phasing out the electroluminescence because they're trying to cheapen the cost of making their watches and things like that. Or some of it is obviously that may well be a fortuitous byproduct of that, but I think one of the main reasons is these watches don't have the battery life that you're going to find on an F191, for example, because of the electroluminescence. From my experience, they have really good batteries and they last a very long time. You're not always going to have the light on, so that makes a difference. But in any case, they won't last the 10 years like an F91 would, for example. Now, that kind of feature, I guess, Casio has kind of weighed up and decided that that particular feature is much better, or something much more marketable than the electroluminescence if they have a good quality LED that can do the same function and then allow the battery to last 10 years or so. That's kind of a win-win. So that may be part of the reason why they're phasing it out. I'm sure cost has a lot to do with it too, but I know that the long battery life and the kind of set and forget sort of features of Casio is something that really differentiates them, and I'm sure they want to keep that going. Obviously with the electroluminescence, Timex has got Indiglo, other brands have got similar features, so having that 10-year battery life or longer is something that really differentiates Casio in terms of its digital models. So this particular watch, my main reasons for suggesting that you guys pick one up is you can still get it under £20. It's got an electroluminescent backlight. It is a feature that is being phased out, and by definition that means that this particular model is also going to be discontinued at some point, probably very soon. So yeah, and in terms of its look and the feel, it has a very similar feel to an F191. It's slightly thicker, but not as thick as a W86, I believe. And so that's why I call it the little brother of the W86. So I really recommend all of you consider picking one of these watches up in the near future. All of you, or those of you who are really interested in watches, those of you who are interested in Casios, and even if you already own one, I do think this is the kind of watch that you could easily own a couple of. That way you could wear the one that you can wear one and enjoy it, and you can keep one in really, really good condition, the way I plan to do with this particular watch. So yeah, that's the Casio F105, and also what you want to see is the module book, obviously, with these Casios when you're purchasing them, to make sure you're getting a genuine product. A lot of the time the fakes, I don't think they have that with them, and some of the real watches maybe don't come with a with one of these, in particular if they're not digital, and if understanding the instructions are not as vital. But it is always something to look out for when you're picking up a Casio. So if we'll just run through some other models that I think that are, if you're a real collector and you really enjoy Casios, and in this price range as well, from the F91, you've got an affinity for them. These are the models that I really, really like, and I own apart from the calculator watch, I own more than one of. So firstly, here's the W86. This is one I picked up recently. The one I have owned for many years is in very poor condition. Still going strong, mind, but in poor condition nonetheless. So I thought I'd pick one up if I could find one that's working, because I just absolutely love this watch. As you can see, it's got a slightly bigger side profile from what I can tell, and from the feel of it as well. Of course, this watch also has the electroluminescence feature. Other than that, I think the module is very similar to the module in the F105. But again, I just think that these are great watches, and I really like the look of them. I absolutely do. So I love to wear them. I love to own them. They're watches that you don't feel too bad about beating up, basically. And they're also watches that are loved by everyone, really. That's the beauty of Casio. I think that it's just a brand that's loved by everyone, and that is whether you're into watches, whether you're not into watches, whether you know nothing about watches, whether you only really wore watches when you were younger and you no longer wear a watch. Everyone knows, and in most cases everyone loves Casio. So this particular watch is the W59. Now, if the W86 is the big brother of the F105, I think this particular watch is like the big brother of the F91, because it has the 50 meters water resistance. To achieve that, all they really need to do is add a gasket. So it's a rubber gasket that they add to the case back. So when you take this out, you'll see it. On the F91, you wouldn't see that. And that's basically all, I think. From what I can tell, that's the only difference between these models. But also the fact that it's written on the front of the dial just makes a difference, in the sense that the font and the color choice, it just pops and it looks really good. In comparison to the F91, which is a bit more subtle in terms of its colors and things like that. It's got similar colors, but it's just the way that the font they've used, it's designed to stand out a bit more. In any case, this is the watch that I really love. So I've obviously owned a lot of F91s over the years. Well, not really. I had one when I was a kid, and I had one in my late teens to early 20s, and one of those watches I still own. And since then I've purchased another one which I kind of don't use at all. It's still in brand new condition, and the same applies to all of these. I've owned an F105, I've owned a W59, I've owned a W86. I still have them. They still work, they're still running, they're still very much loved. So the idea for these pickups really is just to have them in beautifully new condition, or as best condition as you can possibly get, or I could possibly get in the case of the W86, so that I can keep them in that condition and own them for many more years, because I really do love them. So if you're thinking, okay, I really like the F91 and I want there are some similar models, you're wondering if there are some similar models that really scratch that itch that you have for the F91 and offer something a little bit different too, these are the models that I would really suggest. So if you're a Casio lover, I think you should own these three plus the F91 for certain. You should really have those in your collection, at least one of them. If it's not a matter of, oh, why do I need all four, which I completely understand. Sometimes I wonder why I need all four, and if you think I've doubled up on them as well. So it's crazy, really. But that's just me. That's just the way I collect and these things. I like to have, if I can, of every single watch I own, I'd have one that I wear and one that I don't wear. and in this case I've got the opportunity because these are fairly inexpensive watches. The last watch I want to show you is the Casio calculator watch. Now, this particular watch I owned when I was a child. I lost it. I didn't buy it again because obviously there's no real need for it. But when I was a kid, I actually used to use the calculator on the watch, and I really loved it. So now that I am sort of building out my Casio collection and trying to have examples that I can keep in the condition that they're in when I purchase them, I decided that I would finally bite the bullet and get myself another calculator watch. Obviously, over the years, I've always thought about it. Maybe in my younger days, I didn't think about it too much because obviously the functionality of a Casio calculator watch didn't seem like it was necessary, and of course it isn't. But as part of a collection, in terms of the nostalgia it gives me, in terms of the memories that it brings back of using the watch and playing around with the calculator and having it in school and things like that, I just had to have one in my collection, and I managed to get this one at a really good deal. It's brand new as well. The model itself on this occasion is the CA53W, and there is a Casio calculator watch that's all blacked out. I think it might have a negative display as well, I can't be certain, but that particular watch is the one I would have preferred, but this one is just as nice. It's just the all black just appealed to me basically, but the pop of colour and the blue and the yellow also looks good on this model. And there's so many models out there. Some of them are very expensive, some of the vintage ones are very expensive as well, and they're so cool. They've got some other functions. They're called data banks, I believe, and they've got they're able to store telephone numbers. They're able to do quite a few different things, and those are really cool. But of course, you're really buying those as a seasoned Casio collector because they're in the hundreds, and the functionality of them is no longer of any use in this day and age. But so yeah, you really have to be into it. This is more of for me, it's more of nostalgia with Casios. It's about having, they were the first watches I owned. I used to look through the Argos catalogue, and I'd be scanning every single Casio as a kid, and I'd just be looking at them and really wanting every single one because there's just so much variety. So so my collection's has more of the reasoning behind why I collect Casios is more along those lines. There's many other collectors who collect some of the most beautiful Casios you can find, and some of the most inventive and unique. And yeah, I really love watching their videos. I follow a lot of them. I love watching looking at those watches and learning more about them. But whether I'd want to build a collection of that sort, I'm not sure. Plus, those are vintage digital modules and things, and it's good to have some expertise in those things if you're going to own them, because obviously you're going to want to be able to troubleshoot or maintain the watches. But that's the group of watches that I wanted to show you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you consider in particular buying this watch, but really all any of these, because I think they're all excellent and wonderful watches to own. This particular one I don't have two of. The one I owned when I was younger, I lost it, as I said, so I only have one. Will I wear it? Yes, I will, because now that I've got it and it's been so many years since I've worn one on my wrist, I'm really itching to wear it. So yes, I will wear this one, and I'll try my best to keep it in good condition as well. But the main purpose of when I was thinking about buying these is to have an example that I could keep in really good condition. So thanks again for tuning in, guys. Hopefully I'll do some more videos with some other topics that you guys will be interested in, and maybe if you guys like the videos, you can subscribe. That would be really nice, and nice for me, because obviously I'm making these videos and I want to see that people are interested in them, or I'm hoping people are interested in them. But in any case, thank you very, very much for your time and watching the video today, and I hope I've discussed some things about Casio that you guys have enjoyed, and showcase some Casios that you guys have enjoyed as well. Thanks again. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.